Before you listen to anything else today, pause for a second, because the story you're about to hear didn't begin with a speech, it didn't begin with a protest, and it definitely didn't begin on television. It began with a message no one was supposed to read, a routine delivery that wasn't routine at all, and once it was opened, the normal rhythm of Washington quietly broke. Early that morning inside Capitol Hill, staffers noticed small details that didn't make sense. Phones being collected without explanation, assistants being asked to step out of offices, schedules clearing themselves without announcement. Then, several senior senators from both parties walked into the same secure room, and the doors closed behind them. Hours passed. No cameras, no press statements, no leaks. At least, not yet. Somewhere inside the intelligence system, a briefing had arrived that lawmakers believed crossed a line they could not casually step over. The document itself wasn't thick. It wasn't dramatic-looking. But the words inside it forced silence. It described decisions made far from microphones, actions taken in spaces the public never sees, and interpretations of authority that some believed stretched the meaning of power itself. At first, only a few lawmakers were allowed to review it. Then more requested access. And then something unusual happened. Members of the president's own party asked to read it as well. They didn't speak publicly. They didn't defend or attack. They simply went in, one at a time. Observers later noticed a pattern. They entered composed and left thoughtful, sometimes shaken, sometimes refusing even to acknowledge questions in the hallway. That was when rumors began, not from journalists and not from televised debate, but from whispers between offices. Conversations softened, schedules rearranged, and rivals who had spent months criticizing each other suddenly met without cameras. In Washington, cooperation between opponents rarely appears without reason, and people who watch politics closely recognize the signal immediately. Something larger than strategy had entered the room. Within days, leadership organized an emergency session under strict conditions. Cameras were restricted, devices prohibited, and attendance tightly controlled. Inside, senators reviewed testimony summaries, legal interpretations, and timelines built quietly over weeks. Some argued the actions could be explained. Others warned they challenged constitutional boundaries. And one phrase reportedly repeated behind closed doors again and again: "This cannot simply be ignored." The discussion did not resemble normal partisan debate. It resembled caution, calculation, and uncertainty. Instead of preparing speeches, lawmakers prepared questions. And instead of predicting outcomes, they avoided predictions entirely. Then came a step few expected so quickly. Not a final decision, not a dramatic announcement, but a procedural move to formally begin a constitutional review process reserved only for the most serious allegations. The shift was immediate. Markets reacted cautiously. Networks assembled live coverage teams, and officials on both sides chose their words with unusual care. Publicly, nothing definitive had been decided, yet privately, everyone understood a threshold had been crossed. The conversation was no longer theoretical. It was now institutional. Reporters waited outside offices for statements that didn't come. Allies avoided confident defenses. Critics avoided celebration. And both groups spoke with the same careful tone. Because at that moment, the future was unclear. Neither guaranteed removal nor guaranteed survival. Only a process that once started could not easily be paused. For the first time in a long while, prediction disappeared from political commentary and was replaced by watching and waiting. Now the country sits in anticipation. Evidence may become public, arguments may unfold, positions may harden, but the outcome remains unwritten. What began as a sealed briefing moved into a private meeting. then into a formal procedure, and now into a moment history tends to remember long after headlines fade. However it concludes, the effects will extend beyond the single office or a single presidency, because sometimes the most important turning points in government don't begin with loud announcements. They begin with a quiet document, opened in a silent room, and the realization among powerful people that normal rules may no longer be enough.